AITA for refusing a paternity test after a fling with my ex-husband? Backstory: me, 23, and my ex, 24 meters, got married when we were both 19. We were young and dumb and decided to elope on a trip together. Long story short, it was a mistake. We did not get along and separated a little over a year ago. Apparently that wasn't the end of it, because I'm now 6 months pregnant after a one-night fling with him. After I found out, I immediately called him to sort everything out. He asked if I was sure it was mine, and I said yes. He told me he wanted a paternity test just in case and that he'd pay for it out of pocket.
I told him there was no need to put me or my child through that, because he was the only one I'd been with at the time of ovulation. He said that didn't guarantee anything, and it turned into a huge argument, and I eventually hung up because neither me or my fetus needed that kind of stress. We've been very low contact the whole pregnancy to avoid any arguments, but last week he called again to bring it up, saying he won't force me to take the test, but if I don't he doesn't want to be involved. I told him he's being unreasonable and he hung up. I finally told my family about the whole thing yesterday, and it was very split. My mom and one of my sisters were on my side, but my mom's a conspiracy theorist and thinks the government wants their DNA, while my dad, brother and other sister on his.
My dad told me I can't expect a man to want to be involved without knowing 100% that it's his, while my mom thinks he should trust me as we were married for 3 years. Most of my friends are on my side as well. I thought I was right at first, but now I'm really questioning. I really don't want the test. I heard it could hurt the baby. I don't know what to do. AITA?
AITA. Is this about pride and ego? I feel like you're just making it hard for everyone, especially your future child, just to protect your pride/ego. This isn't about you. He's just protecting himself. And also it will help you legally.
AITA. He has every right to be 100% sure the child is his before becoming financially, emotionally responsible. What are you afraid of? Your refusing makes it look like you yourself are not 100% sure. But keeping that part secret. I had to get a DNA test to see who my dad is. Just an oral swab, seriously no big deal. Flu tests suck worse. You're just after the drama and want validation from strangers on the internet. Seriously, just do the test once your baby is born. If there's actually no way anyone else could be the father, it won't matter that you do. However, as you're refusing and making it seem like there's another someone who could be the father, it will only hurt you and your child to continue refusing. AITA.
Me, 23, and my ex, 24 meters, got married when we were both 19. We were young and dumb. What do you mean were? I'm now 6 months pregnant. Did you just find out, or have you known for several months now? He was the only one I'd been with at the time of ovulation. You can actually get pregnant up to 5 days before your ovulation day and 12 days after. And the fact that you said that he's the only one you had been at the time of ovulation and not. He's the only I slept with in the last 6 months. Either get the paternity test once you deliver your baby, or don't, and you'll never be able to get child support. Most judges, since you weren't married, will require a paternity test for proof before subjecting someone to child support. YTA.
AITA. Only person I was with during ovulation period. So were there other men outside of the period?
YTA majorly. I like how you added in, at the time of ovulation, like you can't get pregnant in the days leading up and sperm can't live in the body for several days. Face with rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes. If you won't take a test while you're pregnant, he should have one done immediately after the birth. I'm a woman and believe men should 100% protect themselves in this situation. Edit to add because I forgot the whole post. Sounds like you're lying. YTA, and your resistance to getting a test makes you look suspicious. You two are no longer married, so he has no reason to trust your word. YTA. If you want him to support the child or help you in any way, a paternity test is a reasonable Request: you may know that he was the only one you were with, but y'all are split and it's completely reasonable for him not to just take you at your word and want documented proof. On the flip side, it also gives you documented proof that he is the father, so it will make child support much easier. YTA. If he was asking for this while you guys were married and commit to one another, then different story. But you aren't together and have no reasonable expectation of fidelity, so of course he would wanna be sure.
Uda. It won't hurt the baby or you. You're making excuses because you know it might not be his.
YTA. You are not in a relationship with your ex. He has no reason to accept your word on blind faith. You said, quote, "He was the only one I'd been with at the time of ovulation." That wording indicates to me that you have had other sexual partners beyond your ex near the time of conception. He is making a really reasonable request for an incredibly safe and reliable procedure at no cost to you. I can fully understand why he views your claims of paternity and now your resistance to DNA testing with suspicion. At the time of ovulation is a real red flag. She means she slept with her ex when she thinks she was ovulating. Also, the wording implies heavily that there were other sexual partners that month. When I was trying to conceive, I began to test when I was ovulating, and at my peak fertility for the month it was significantly later in my cycle than I thought. So if there were other sexual partners, she could easily have conceived with them. I think you want this baby to be your ex's. But if you slept with anyone else after your last period, there is a real chance it could be theirs. You have no idea when you are truly ovulating unless you've been testing and tracking it over a period of time. Take the test op. You need to know for sure, and so does he. If you don't, you are denying your child their father, whoever he is. YTA. YTA. He's your ex, not your current spouse. You really can't blame him for wanting one. How does it hurt the baby? Just wait until they're born and have a check swab? YTA. He doesn't have to trust you with this. It's way too important to not know for absolutely certain, and you weren't in the type of relationship where he could be certain based on knowing you. YTA. After the baby is born, a simple swab of the cheek to get saliva will provide the DNA for the test. No muss. No fuss. No stress. If you go to court, the first thing they will do is offer a paternity test, and once the results come back, custody and child support can be determined. YTA. He was the only one I'd been with at the time of ovulation. You may know that, but he doesn't. If he's offering to pay, you have nothing to lose. Suggested the test. YTA. You can get pregnant even when you're not ovulating. The rhythm method isn't 100% effective, you know? I'd want to know if it was in fact my baby or not. A paternity test is totally reasonable. Why should he take your word for it? That's quite a lot of commitment to raise a child just based on your feeling that it's got to be his. YTA. He has no guarantee that he's the only man you've slept with. He has every right to a paternity test, and frankly, you're being exceptionally ridiculous to act as if his demand for a paternity test is some kind of slight against you. You aren't his wife. You aren't his girlfriend. You are his ex that he had a fling with. He has every right to be cautious and doubtful of your story. YTA. As you are no longer in a relationship, it is not reasonable for you to expect him to trust you on something so important and simply take your word for it. Paternity entails great investment of both his time, money and emotional resources. It is reasonable for him to want confirmation, proof of paternity as a result. YTA. You weren't married, and by your own words, it was a fling. He is absolutely justified in asking for a DNA test. You are making your life harder and more stressful by not just granting his request. It's a reasonable request. He's even offered to pay for it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.